Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new video, and today we're going to be looking at the state of Oregon and continuing our redistricting series. Um, so yeah, we're going to get started right now with the state of Oregon, as I mentioned. So Oregon, just wanted to show this. So DRA added this feature, DRA as in daysredistricting.org, which I highly recommend quickly that you check out. Days Redistricting if you do not use it already. It's a very cool thing to use. I was going to say cool tool, but that would have rhymed. It's a fun tool to use. I highly recommend it, and I have a bunch of maps here that I use all the time just to mess around with. I obviously don't show all maps in my videos, but you can basically do a lot. You can do a lot of stuff with this app, and I highly recommend. Just go to davesredistricting.org, and you can just do whatever you want. Just sign up. It's completely free. It takes 2 seconds to sign up, and yeah. Also, if you'd like to donate to Dave's Redistricting through right here, they have it on their homepage. You should totally do that. I donated a little bit of money to this to their cause. It is such a cool tool, and I'd love to keep it free. So, with that being said, they have this cool map where it does show you who has control of each state's redistricting. So for the blue states like Oregon, that means the Democratic Party has control of redistricting. However, in the state of Oregon, and interestingly enough, the Republican Party has leveraged their power as the minority to kind of compromise with the Democrats here. They wouldn't let them vote on a map unless they were guaranteed 2 districts. So we know that the map's going to look something like the Republicans probably getting at least 1 district, probably 2 districts, more likely than not. So first, we're just going to take a look at the current congressional map. So the current congressional map, and we should not use this because this data set, composite 2012-2018, underestimates the Democratic Party by a couple points. But so like these districts over here, like District 5 is very solid for the Democrats. Like they probably have it as D+5 or something. District 5, they have it as D+3. This is a district that's pretty solid for the Democrats. I think Kurt Schrader, who was the incumbent, won re-election by like 10% in 2020. Peter DeFazio, who represents the 4th district, which is the most competitive, he won by I think 5 or 6 in 2020. So this data set does overestimate Democrats. Also, the 2nd district, I think for whatever reason, is less red than it should be, but I don't really know why it's going on. But essentially, you have a map that is pretty fair. I mean, this isn't really a gerrymander, as you can see. The lines look pretty good. And the population deviation is pretty bad, so I don't know what happened there, but again, this is a pretty good map. I don't think any districts are majority minority. The one that comes closest is the 3rd district, which I'll show you right here is basically the safest Democratic district, as you might expect. So yeah, now just want to take a look at that. I can close this tab, but now we're going to get started with our Democratic gerrymander of Oregon. So turning on partisan lean, first we should make sure that these data sets are the most balanced they can be. The most balanced now, and the reason that I say that 2012-2018 is pretty unbalanced is because this is a data set that encompasses both the 2016 Senate or 2016 presidential race where Clinton won it by like 9, and the 2018 governor race where Kate Brown, who was really unpopular, only won by like 6 points. So this data set does overestimate Republicans. The good news for the data set is that it does encompass a lopsided Democratic like 30-point win in the 2016 Senate race there, because for whatever reason Ron Wyden's just very popular. So it's not completely terrible, but I'm just going to use President 2012-2016 data. I'm not sure. Actually, I think I'll keep it as this, but again, we'll definitely mess around with different data sets as the video progresses. So first, we're just going to get started with the fundamentals. We're going to crack Portland into as many districts as we can, and then use these other cities like Bend over here. We have Bend. I think this is Eugene. Then we have Salem. There's also Medford down here. That can help us kind of try to draw a 6-0 Democratic map in the state of Oregon. So first of all, I'm just going to crack just to make this a little easier for myself. I am going to fill in a few counties. These counties are more Republican, but as we start to grab more of Portland here, this district's going to become a little bit bluer, and I'm going to aim for these districts to be at least D+5. There might be a district that's like super competitive, but I'm not sure right now. This district is pretty blue. That's subject to change, of course. We don't want to use too much of Portland. We can't be too greedy with the Democratic precincts that we have because we have to eliminate as many Republican ones as we can. We're just going to do that, and I'll get back to you when I finish with the 1st congressional district. So I have now drawn a district that is, I think, D+4 based on my estimate right here. I'm going to actually check statistics. But this district, it's D+3. So I was a little off there. But this is a district that the Democratic Party would be favored in by 3%. It's mostly just made up of kind of exurban, suburban Portland, but I do grab a little bit of Portland in here. But this is mostly a suburban district that would be trending towards the Democrats. I think that even if it's below the +5 rule for me, it should be okay. So that's our first district. The second district, I'm actually going to kind of start with grabbing some Republican areas up here. These more Republican areas out here, they're pretty rural. Like they're not even that populated. So I have around 222,000 Republican vote. Well, not Republican voters, but this is solid Republican area. And then we're going to kind of loop it in over here, and we're going to connect it to Portland and just see it slowly turn Democratic. It's actually be interesting to watch. It'll be a very slow and painful death for the Republican Party in this district, but as you can see, we're going to start to slowly loop it in. It'll turn red. Yeah, just turn light red. And yeah, we're just going to keep going here, and I'm going to stop when it turns blue, and then we're going to finish this off without me recording it. But again, this is a district that is going to be very interesting to see how it's going to vote in these elections, because it might actually just be purely based off of the turnout that the Democratic Party gets from Portland, which would be the major population center of this district, of course, or depending on how the Republicans do in these more rural areas. So yeah, and the district just did turn blue. We're just probably going to add a bit more of Portland here, trying to make this district even bluer. And yeah, right here, I think we've kind of have a good balance where it's blue enough for the Democratic Party to win this consistently, but it's not ridiculous. Yeah, there we go. So now it's pretty blue now. I'm gonna try to make this look at least a little better. I'll just add some more light red areas over here. I'm gonna actually save Bend for another district that we're gonna utilize that city for. This Bend, anything past Bend, I guess I just call it rural Oregon. I mean, like there's some medium-sized cities. This is a Hispanic area somewhere over here, for whatever reason, and there's a city over here that was decently big. But once you get past Bend, you're pretty rural. I also don't want to split up Deschutes County too much because of it's an interesting county in that the white vote in Deschutes County does kind of reflect where the country is at as a whole. But yeah, I'm gonna loop this in with the rest of it right here. So yeah, that's it. We've got this district. It kind of just we have most of the land is very Republican, but once you grab this chunk of Portland, it's pretty blue. So now we're gonna just kind of we've kind of cracked Portland into 2 districts already. I'm gonna try to just split this area down here into 2 more districts. Then we're gonna still have 2 more. And we're gonna there's not a ton of Republican rural vote outstanding, so I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with this. I'll probably just see where this takes me. Actually, you know what? I think we're just gonna have to crack this into 3 districts now that I think about it, because the Portland suburbs are still really blue, so I can probably make a district that is cracking these Republican areas and just using the Portland suburbs as our kind of as the way to dilute the votes. Is this a county? Yeah, that's pretty big. I'm just gonna actually have to shave a little bit of this off. Yeah, there we go. That's better. So yeah, like I said, the Portland suburbs are very blue compared to most suburbs, but that's to be expected because Oregon obviously much bluer than your average state. But Oregon is a cool state to analyze. So we're gonna have to see what the future holds for Oregon. So I'm gonna pause the recording here because I'm starting to trail off, and I'm not usually good at going off script. Hopefully, I don't sound terrible right now, but I'm not going to bore you too much. Plus, I don't want this video to go any longer than half an hour. This shouldn't take too long. So I'll get back to you when I finish this congressional district. Guess what? I am back, and I have finished drawing our 3rd congressional district, which looks very ugly, but it serves its purpose, as you can see here. It does essentially grab a little bit of Portland up here, then most of the Portland suburbs, and then goes all the way down and actually avoids a few cities along the way. I think this is... I could be mixing this up, but I think this is Salem. I don't know where this is, and I think this is Eugene, so I'm actually not sure. I'm actually going to Google it to make sure I'm right. Okay, we're checking Google Maps now. So, we have Portland. Okay, let's see. Corvallis. Am I getting that wrong? Corvallis? Is that Corvallis? Yes, Portland, Salem, Corvallis, Eugene are the major cities. So we've got Portland, Salem, Corvallis, Eugene. Okay, interesting. And then Medford's down here, right? Medford is down there. Interesting. Okay, well, I guess you learn something new every day. So apparently there's a pretty large city that I just did not know existed. So that's cool. Now we're going to finish cracking up Portland. We're just going to see Oh, that county is bigger than I thought it was. Oh, okay, whatever. Okay, so we're just gonna kind of grab just these for whatever reason. The suburbs over these aren't even suburbs. These are just exurbs at this point. Are still decently red. They're not as red as some other exurbs are, but they're still pretty red. And unfortunately, and I really hate to do this because it takes a long time. We're gonna actually have to split this precinct. Actually, this isn't gonna take too long. Apparently, the block lines in Oregon are not that bad, but luckily, DRA added a feature you can split precincts, which makes gerrymandering a heck of a lot easier, which is not good for real life, but for fake online simulations of gerrymandering and diluting people's political influences, it's easy, which is good. But in real life, I would hope the gerrymandering ends in my lifetime, which would be very good. Okay, so we've now have this. Okay, so we've got kind of a district that's definitely majority Democrat, as you can see over here. Yeah, this is very blue. And now we're just going to kind of just grab some more Republican areas down here. Let's see what we can do. Okay, that district is barely... Okay, well, it's barely still working there. Okay, now these blocks are very ugly. Just to illustrate how bad this is, I'm going to have to... Yeah, that's not fun. So these blocks are very ugly. They're going to go down here. So we successfully dodged that bolt. Then there's another one over here. We're just going to have to go a little bit like that. And this should work. So we're now going to kind of go over here. We do still have Bend. And I don't, because this district's already blue enough. I don't really need Bend in this district. So it's kind of annoying that Bend exists right here. But I guess... Okay, well, I guess we're just going to have Bend just be encompassed in another district. This looks terrible. Oh my gosh, this is dreadful. Here we go. So we're kind of looping in more rural parts of Oregon. Then we've got Klamath County, which is probably one of the more bigger rural counties. And we're going to add this Bend. Is Bend big enough to have suburbs? Okay, that's what I'm wondering now, because I was going to say Bend exurbs, but I don't even think that's a thing. So it looks like Bend is going to have to be grabbed by another district, which is very... This map does look terrible. So, yeah. Then we're going to go here, grab this. And this district's still going to be very blue, actually. I might have actually overestimated Republican support in Oregon, because we're essentially basically... We've, like, diluted a bunch of Republican areas in Oregon, and this district was still pretty blue, even though it was designed to grab all these Republican places. So, yeah, now we're just going to finish off the Portland kind of Democratic areas, and then we're just going to... No, I do not want to do that. And then we are just going to... the final district is just going to be me looping all these other places in. Oh, dang it. Why does Bend have to exist? Bend exists in the most inconvenient place imaginable for me right now, because I have to split this precinct again, which is not going to be fun. Oh geez, look, that's it. Why can't they just... Okay, I'm going to expand my brush size to make it like this. Let's see if I can select more precincts at once. There we go. Okay, that'll be helpful. This is very helpful. This is a helpful tool I did not know how to use until a little bit ago. And with that being said, we can now, I'm assuming safely, change back the brush size to the normal brush size. And I think that's going to be it for cracking this. Oh no, did I seriously mess up again? Okay, well, I'm having technical difficulties at this part because I accidentally just cut off a bunch of voters over here. So I'm going to do that when I get back. So yes, I will be right back once I finish fixing my errors for this gerrymander. Okay, I am back, and it appears that I actually did change kind of the layout of this map. So essentially what I did was I grabbed Bend as well as Medford to round out this district because it was a little small. Because it was actually a little less blue than I thought it would be. So even with Medford and Bend, it's still only lean Democratic. But this final district should be pretty blue. It's basically going to encompass the city I forgot about, um, Salem as well as Eugene. So, like I said, kind of these leftover areas that still have a Democratic lean. But I think this is it, if I'm correct. And yeah, this is a pretty blue district. In fact, I could probably make these districts all bluer, except for whatever reason, this fourth district is very blue. I don't know why. Now we're going to make sure that they are all contiguous, which they should. Oh no, the sixth is not contiguous. I'm gonna have to find do this thingy. Okay, so we're gonna have to fix this. This is actually a decently big precinct. So the sixth district is gonna give one precinct that belongs to the sixth district. This is a pretty good size. So that being said, I think we have it. So I'm gonna turn off precinct lines, turn on district lines as well as the labels. And it appears as though we actually I need to turn on find interesting. Okay, I'm just gonna pretend to ignore this. So, this is what the map would look like in a democratic gerrymander. Again, it's a very ugly map, as you can see. It obviously is a gerrymander where it cracks Portland and dilutes the influence of these rural voters out to the east. But other than that, it's a pretty good map for the Democratic Party. So this is our democratic gerrymander of the state of Oregon. We're now going to move on to our Republican gerrymander, which I have already made, actually. I was very bored one day and actually did make a Republican gerrymander, which is good because it's going to save time. And essentially what this, actually first, before we move on, forget that. I want to show you how quickly this map would fall over in 2018. Yeah, so it's a little better than you'd think. Kate Brown still would have lost 2 of these districts, though. But that is kind of, this shows that at worst this is a 4-2 map for Democrats because Kate Brown did terrible. Clinton probably won 5 of these districts, if I'm being completely honest. She probably won. Oh, she actually won all 6. So Hillary Clinton won all 6 of these districts. I can guarantee you that Ron Wyden won all of these districts. In fact, he won them by very good margins. I mean, composite president, it probably gets bluer. So, yeah, this is a pretty strong gerrymander. I could probably make it a little stronger if I kind of made the 4th a little less blue and gave some of that to the 5th, which is the least Democratic district, which is right next to the 4th. But other than that, this is a pretty solid gerrymander for the Democrats. Now, for the GOP, I did make this map a while ago, but what it does is it instead of cracking Portland, it cracks. So you have it instead of cracking Portland, it packs. So you crack Portland into two districts. I'm actually going to turn on like that. So it actually cracks Portland into 2 districts, as you can packs. My goodness, I cannot speak. It packs Portland into 2 districts. This is kind of the main city area district where it's, a little less, I guess you could say, it's more diverse, and this is kind of just packing all the blue suburbs into 1 district. Then you have the final Democratic district, which is this district over here that just kind of encompasses, the areas from Portland to Salem, I believe, and then Eugene. And then as for Eugene, Bend, and Medford, they're kind of cracked where you have Eugene all in this district right here, and then Bend is right over here, so you kind of stop at Bend, and then you encompass the majority of Medford. So this district is still pretty competitive, but then you just have this very solid district for pretty solid district for the GOP, where you kind of have Bend is like the only Democratic population center. Then you have a few random Native American reservations that you can see that probably don't have even the greatest turnout for the Democratic Party. So this is a pretty solid map for the GOP. I apologize that I didn't spend too much time making it, but I had a little shorter time in my hands. This map is also fits in the population deviation requirements. It's actually pretty good in terms of population deviation. And in fact, it's actually a pretty good gerrymander. It looks ugly, of course, but it's actually it's pretty strong. In fact, even 2008 with Obama's win, there's still a Republican district that stays red. Pretty easily. In 2016, I believe Clinton would have carried, I think 4 of these, if I'm correct. No, she actually would have. She actually would have only carried 3, and in fact, they get a little more solid for the GOP. 2016, Wyden probably wins 5. He narrowly carries this one. He probably gets insane turnout from Bend. Interesting, yeah. So is that he narrowly wins that district. Then we go over to the Governor 2016 data set. I don't know what that. Yeah, it's still a pretty Republican map. In 2018, it's probably just as bad for the Democrats, where Kate Brown actually loses all 3 of these districts pretty easily, and even her only safe district is this just Portland district. So she performed very badly in her run, and then as you can see, it just kind of stays the same. But again, this is a pretty strong map for the GOP. Obama did carry, it's pretty striking to me that Obama still did lose a district to John McCain here. So, this is a pretty solid map for the GOP, but now we're actually going to get to the good part. I should close that tab. We're going to get to the good part where we talk about a fair map. So, what's going to happen is quote me on this because that's what I'm confident in. The map is going to be a 4-2 Democratic map. The Republican Party in the minority in the Oregon State Legislature has enough leverage so that they can make the map not a crazy Democratic gerrymander. It's going to be a map that skews towards the Democratic Party, but it's not going to be as crazy of a gerrymander as some Democrats would hope, which is honestly in the long run it's good for society. Gerrymandering is a terrible tool leveraged by politicians, but we should talk about our fair map. So the fair map is I'm going to aim for it to be 4-2 Democrat, but I think that there's going to be a district that the Democrats are going to only narrowly win, and I'm going to try to engineer the competitive district right now. So just kind of try to take some of these more competitive areas. So first of all, Clackamas County is a Democratic leaning county. Then we're going to try to take some of these other counties. Deschutes is another competitive county, and just kind of grab these more rural areas. And then we're going to have, this is interesting. And then we're actually going to have to maybe shed a little bit of rural. Yeah, so Crook County, we're going to get rid of that part. Connect this here. So we have so we're going to just grab some Portland. And we now kind of have a district that the Democrats will be incredibly narrowly favored in. And I want to make it a little more solid for them because I don't want the map to be too easily 3-3. I mean, because when you think about it, that could fall over very, very quickly, and I don't want that to happen. I want to be competitive, but I don't want to fall over that quickly. So just going to grab some more Portland, and it looks like this is. So I'm pretty satisfied with this competitive district. It looks a little funky. I guess what I could do is I could add in just this land area over here to make it a little more red. Then shed some Republican areas down here. And grab a little bit more Portland to kind of even it out. Give the district again a little more Democratic voters. So I think that's going to be it for this district. Here we go. So yeah, now for our 2 Republican districts, we're just going to try to take try to take Medford out of the equation. Medford is again one of those medium-sized cities in the state. Try to take that out of the equation. Douglas is probably the most influential Republican county. Then we're just gonna, this is what we're gonna do. We're just gonna take these last Republican areas. I don't want to knock off this part of Oregon from the rest of the states, so it might look a little weird. But whatever, it'll be fine. I don't think this map will be ugly. Some of these fair maps I'm going to make down the road are going to not look pretty, but I don't think that unpopular opinion, but not all fair maps look great. Ideally, they look good, but they don't always look great. So just going to have to roll with it. But so far, I'm pretty happy with the way this map is going. I actually haven't tried to make a fair Oregon map yet, but we'll see how it goes. So we've got that district down. We're just going to grab the rest of rural Oregon, which again isn't even that many people. It's barely 200,000 people. And then we're going to have to try to because this is a district that the Democrats would have won. Luckily, Lynn County is pretty Republican. And actually, this district might actually end up being more competitive than I would like because the political, the geography for Republicans in Oregon, it's not terrible, but it's in terms of gerrymandering, it's just not good at all because you have the rurals, obviously the Republicans are strong in rural Oregon, but rural Oregon's still not there are barely 500,000 people out here. And to make a district out of it, you have to grab all of Deschutes County, which is a county that Joe Biden did win in 2020. So, the geography again for Republicans it's not ideal, is what I'll say. Now, this district's getting a little big, so we're going to have to, again, erase some Democratic votes over here. I'm actually not sure how I'm going to do that, though. I think I might have to trade a little bit with this because the second district is still pretty red. So I think I might have to trade a little bit of votes here and see what happens. That's what we're gonna have to do. Okay, that district just got a little red or a little bluer than I would have liked. There we go. So we're gonna grab some of this. We're just gonna probably end up taking Mount Hero County, although that looks a little bit unsatisfying for me, so I'm gonna have to give them this. So yeah, District 3 is not ideal. I'm just gonna have to shed off some of this, some of these areas over here. I'm just gonna shed off some Democratic areas because this district is getting a little less. It's a little more competitive than I would have liked, but again, I have a vision for every map that I make, and not all maps turn out the way I'd like. That's okay. So just in a wave, this is going to be designed for the Democrats to win five seats in a wave. I'm not sure. I wish there was a way to make this second district just safe red, then make this district likely red, but it's still fillable for Democrats in a wave. But we'll have to see. Yeah, this district's only R+6. I'm not sure how I feel, but the district's only R+6. I guess we're gonna have to actually add some more Republican areas. So I'm gonna get back to once I do that. Okay, so as I just said, not all maps turn out the way you envision them, and this map is messing with me. So what I did was, essentially, it turns out that the third district and the second district are going to be very similar in partisanship. The third is actually still a little more Democratic than the second, but that's interesting. I did not, I was just talking about, maybe I should listen to myself more. I was just talking about how, you have a vision for a map and it goes completely different. I guess that was a good example. So we're now going to get on with our just super Democratic districts. First, I'm just going to kind of grab these areas over here. This is already going to be very blue. It's going to be interesting to see how blue that gets. Tillamook County is actually a little smaller than I thought, but once you kind of loop it in, yeah, the geography of this district isn't great, but it's still going to work. And I essentially took, I think that's Salem and then Eugene, and I'm just forgetting the name of this town. But yeah, and now we're just going to split Portland into two districts, which should be pretty easy and pretty self-explanatory. I'm hoping. Actually, that went better than I thought. The county was bigger than I thought. So yeah, these last districts are definitely be safe Democratic. So this video actually took, in terms of production time, these videos usually I have a bunch of recordings that I stitched together. This video actually did not take a long time, mostly because I already made the Republican gerrymander, which the Republican gerrymander, in a state like Oregon, that would have took forever. But luckily, I was very bored one day, so I ended up making one. But I think with that being said, I'm done with this map. Hopefully I don't mess anything major up. Okay, that district's a little big. Oh, it's because these are all mine. Okay, well, I think I'm actually going to steal a precinct or two. There we go. That makes me feel a little better about this map. So, again, this map was not perfect, but, the population deviation should be okay. Yeah, so we have two Republican leaning districts, two Democratic leaning districts, and there is one competitive district that does lean Democratic. But in a way, the Democrats could probably end up still flipping the third district, maybe even the second. But I wouldn't say it's likely. But I think this is a solid map. I'm pretty proud of the way this map turned out. I actually do want to turn off precincts. Here we go. Yeah. So, I did kind of pack the cities into these districts. There aren't really any major cities in the third district. I mean, there's actually part of, I think, Eugene, but other than that, I think it's, I'm pretty happy with the way this map turned out. And we might see a similar map. This map does look actually a little ugly, to be completely honest with you. If I spent a little more time on it, I could probably patch it up. But I think this is going to be it for this video. So again, this was part 3, I believe, of my redistricting series coming out weekly. If you enjoyed, please do leave a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. With that being said, have a great rest of your day. See you in the next one. Goodbye.